Howdo, everybody! Welcome to Let's Stream Dark Cloud. Those of you on Twitch are probably wondering, why the heck is this guy playing this again? He played this recently. Yeah, like maybe over a year ago. Whereas you guys on YouTube, I haven't played this game for you guys in over 14. Well, no. Yeah, it'd be close to 14 years at this point. I was about 14 years old when I did that first Let's Play of it all those years ago. But anyway, so this is the first game in the Dark Cloud series. This was a PlayStation 2 launch title in Japan, released in 2001 by Level 5. It was Level 5's very first game, actually. And those of you familiar with more modern Level 5 stuff like Professor Layton, Yokai Watch, this might seem very different. A lot of Level 5 fans seem to think that Level 5 really started kind of growing their identity sometime around Dark Cloud 2 or Dragon Quest 8 when they helped out with that. So, yeah, so things might seem a bit different if you're a longtime Level 5 fan, but it's still a really good game. There are some flaws, and it's definitely not the second game by any means, but it's still one of my favorites. So I want to go ahead and hit start just so we don't have to play through the opening scene again. An old book was found in some old ruins. Yeah, I can read, I swear. All the scholars who decoded it puzzled over the mystery of the book. A world with 2 moons illuminating the sky. The many dazzling adventures of a young boy. But whether or not this is a true story, do you believe in the story woven in the book? Maybe it's a fantasy that existed only in a boy's heart. Let me tell you this story. This ancient book tells of a magical and magnificent fairy tale. And the hero of this wondrous tale, whose name is... Now, something to note about Dark Cloud 1 is, unlike the second game, there is next to no voice acting. The best you'll get is character grunts in combat. All other dialogue is text-based, so I will be reading it aloud. This is also taking more from Zelda. You can actually tell by our main character's appearance there. Make his hat a bit pointier, turn his hair blonde, you've basically got Link. So, definitely Zelda-inspired, and this is shown here where you actually get to name your character, which by extension names your save file. So, interestingly enough, I believe I was talking about this in the Dark Cloud 2 streams, or at least around that time, with a streamer by the name of Abstract Advocat. This guy's name originally was supposed to be Toran, T-O-R-A-N, but due to poor translation, we instead get Toan. Now, based on the fact that his name is supposed to be Toran, I'm going to be pronouncing it Toan, or Toan, for most of this playthrough. I might alternate because habit, because the discovery of his actual intended name only came to light relatively recently. So I'll have years of alternating his pronunciations to try and break through. But we're going to be sticking with default names for the most part. I will give you profiles, though. Boy from Maroon, that's kind of your description of each character. So let's get started, then. Okay, good. Audio levels seem fine. You've gathered quite a few of them. I had a hard time finding dancers with the right qualifications. Look at them. Their dance of blood. Mixing the blood of witches with that of humans is the key to breaking the seal. However, I do have some problems. In order to procure good material, you do need adequate... I see. I'll pay you extra. That should solve your problem, huh? Yes, sir. Thank you. So, when will it happen? Very soon, sir. Let us enjoy the ceremony till it is time. This is auto-scrolling, by the way. I have no control over when the text progresses. Flag, sir. Do you know the legend of the Dark Genie sealed in the urn? Of course. How much money do you think I put into acquiring this urn? I've been waiting for this for years, and now its legendary power is mine. 400 years ago, the Genie of Darkness appeared in the east, and with its evil power, the world was burnt away. What do you intend to do with such frightening power in your hands? You will see. So now is the time. Yes, sir, so it seems. And doesn't this guy look familiar? What, this is the genie? The Dark Genie? Well, it's quite different than I imagined. The best mouth animation, yes. The ancient Dark Genie, this is it. Hey, who are you guys? Welcome back, Genie of Darkness. I broke the seal and released you. Therefore, I am your master. Oh, is that right? Whatever, fine. Yes, that's right. I haven't eaten for 400 years. I have to eat something. I need food. Food. Got you! Huh? Stop it! Help! Delicious. Excuse me. Sorry, have a kitty. Get out from under there. Hi, how are you today? Talon, it's already started. Come on, let's go. Talon, it's already started. Come on, let's go. Now, I actually do have control over this dialogue, so I would like to actually point out a few things. Translation is suspect. This is an early 2000s JRPG, so you'll sometimes see grammatical errors, misspellings. Sometimes you'll see text repeating like that. It's part of the charm. See, I told you. You should have hurried. Come on, we're late. I'm a staff member this year, so I have to go. Sorry. Oh, she left you. Toin, hurry up. And awesome music! Look at the insects squirm about. Start there. So y'all remember the Dark Genie fight in Dark Cloud 2, how he had that huge laser beam that did like 200 plus damage? This is what that beam's capable of, and why it did so much. The fact that the ride pod didn't get completely obliterated the one time I got hit by it's a miracle. Up, and you're dead. Hi there. Can you hear me? Open your eyes. I'm technically playing on an emulator, so I have upscaled the graphic fidelity a little bit, so you can actually see Tomen's model. His eyes are open. Wake up. Hey! Ahem. I am the Fairy King. I am the entity that unites all of nature's spirits. Basically, this guy's God. Listen well, young one. Something bad has happened. Men blinded by greed have revived the Dark Genie. This Dark Genie is terribly powerful. Its power is so great that it could destroy the entire world. You saw it. Your own village being destroyed right before your eyes. Not just your village. In a flash, many villages and towns were destroyed. In one night, half your world was annihilated. It must be the men from the east that performed the resurrection ceremony. Now, something I'm going to point out here, because they also mentioned the Dark Genie appearing in the east 400 years ago. I do believe the Dark Genie actually does appear in the east, though this guy's getting the directions mixed up. This is men from the west, I do believe. But it's a bit hard to keep track of because when it refers to their locations that are only known as the east and the west, they interchange them periodically when referring to the Dark Genie's origins. So it can be a bit tricky to keep track of. Probably thinking to use its black demon power for war without realizing how frightening it is. It is darkness, pure darkness itself. Long ago, this so-called Dark Genie almost destroyed the entire world. Its malevolence is that great. The bad thing is that it has the same type of magical power as us spirits. Unfortunately, we aren't powerful enough to destroy it. Like cannot cut like, is basically what you're saying. Young man, I see that you have a strong will that could withstand the evil power. And also a clear, kind heart. You might be able to fight against the darkness it generates. I decided to stake our fate on you. Let me bless you with power. There, surprised? That's called Atlamillia. It's a stone with a magical power. And note that this one is blue. Oh, don't look that way, boy. I'll explain now. It might get too bright for your eyes for a moment. Do you know where this is? This is no simple empty lot. This was your village. But do not lose heart. As long as you have that stone, you can return it to its original form. You see, just before the village was destroyed by that genie, I saved the buildings and people by sealing them into spheres called Atla. It seems those Atla were scattered all around by its tremendous magic power. They were probably blown to different places around the world. It probably thinks everything is destroyed. You must restore the world before it realizes what happened. Absorb that which I sealed in Atla using that Atlamillia and bring them back. Then you'll be able to restore the world to its original form. You may even be able to create an even better world than before. You don't seem to understand anything I'm saying. Oh well, I'll give you another lesson when you acquire some Atla. So long. So back on the subject, a previous subject, the Dark Cloud series I've loved for its music, and this track coming up here is no exception. And here we are in Norune Village. So now we can actually access the menu. To access the menu, if you're playing this on a PlayStation, you press triangle to open the menu. I want to go to the options menu real quick. Vibration off, good, that saved it. I do have a previous save file on memory. Let's see, sound, stereo, clock display, we want that. Time progress normal, map display 3, and display enemy parameters, yeah, we're good. Okay, cool, so I don't have to actually mess with anything. So, first things first, we want to go to this very obvious Beatles reference and check what's inside. Ah! Toan, you're alive! Seems like we're the only ones in the village that survived. We never dreamt this had happened. One night and our village is gone. Can you believe this, Toan? I feel so helpless. I, the mayor of the village, can't do anything about it. What am I supposed to do now? I guess the only thing we can do is get help from the guardian of Norune Village, Dran. Dran will not abandon us. He'll help us for sure. I have a favor to ask, Toan. Go to the Divine Beast Cave and tell Dran what happened. Divine Beast Cave is the cave outside towards your right-hand side. You've probably seen it before. I may be imagining things, but I sense something has changed about the cave. Be careful. This is the cave key. I put the things you might need in your bag for you. And no, I'm not going to intentionally repeat the key item acquired joke. Don't get carried away. If you get in trouble in there, come back here. I'll get you more supplies. Good luck. Okay, so before we leave, we can actually get a treasure here by opening this dude's closet. The spiky bug's coming out. And we get a prickly. Those of you who watched my Dark Cloud 2 LP will probably recognize that as fishing bait. Okay, so while we're here in the Norune field, I want to go over some controls. So, excuse me, there are two different kind of modes, I guess you could say, in the game. There's the field mode, which is this one out here, where you're building towns, walking around towns, shopping, interacting with townsfolk, and so on and so forth. The basic controls are more or less the same for both modes, but there's different nuances for each one. So here in the field, for example, we'll go over the basic controls that are unanimous to both. You use the left stick to move around. It's analog, so you have 360-degree movement. You use the right stick to angle the camera. Now, unlike the second game, where it goes the opposite direction where you move the stick, this one moves the camera in the direction your stick is pointing. So, transitioning from the second game to this one, or vice versa, you will probably have to do some muscle memory adjustment with the camera in particular. Okay, here we have a time transition. It's now dusk. It starts us in the middle of the day. I think it starts us in the afternoon, actually, now that I think about it. But anyway, so circle centers the camera. See, I'm moving this. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller, so I'm pressing B. But on its native console, it would be circle. Square does nothing in these sections. The D-pad does nothing. The shoulder buttons act as an alternative to the camera in the field. The stick's just better. This is using the bumpers, or the L1 and R1 buttons. Okay, so L2 does nothing. R2 toggles the first-person mode. So now for the final button that we need to go over, which is the menu. I mentioned press triangle to open it. So there's a few... You've already seen the options thing. We have the ability to save. We can actually just warp directly to the dungeon from here, but we've never been to the dungeon before, so we can't actually use that. Diorama parts I'll go over when it becomes relevant. Allies, I'll do the same. Same thing with weapon, item. You can access your inventory from here, even though inventory is more of a dungeon mechanic than a overworld mechanic. But let's see, start just pauses the game, just a straight pause, which you can also pull up the menu and it stops time, so either way would work. Select, in the overworld, goes into Diorama mode, which we can't do anything in Diorama mode yet, so there's no point in trying to do anything. Alright, so, I want to go ahead and use this. Now, I don't think I can back out once I go in. Those of you who've been watching my Minecraft streams probably will recognize this music. Can I back out? No, I cannot. Okay, so something that's a bit different between the two games is once you actually enter a dungeon, when you're on like the floor selection screen like this, you cannot back out. So we're gonna have to go in. So let's go ahead and go over... Stupid Avast. Hang on, it screwed with my windows. There we go. Okay, so let's go over some UI elements here concerning the dungeons. You'll notice it's organized like a list instead of actually showing like a dungeon layout with little tiles representing each floor like the second game has. So the first game's very basic by comparison. There's not a whole lot of side quests. There's no medals or anything for like side challenges or stuff like that, so it's pretty straightforward and simple. So B1, you have the level you're on. The little orange and green yin-yang symbols are Atla, these orbs that the Fairy King has sent us in here to collect. That is, the middle parts there show you how many you've collected. The actual orb symbols are just kind of like, hey, there's this amount in here, and then right next to it you see a 0 out of 8. We have collected 0 out of 8 of them. And then on the very far right, you'll see that demon head with a halo on a cross. That's how many monsters you've killed. It's for real this time, Toan. From here on, you'll be put to the true test. First, conquer this wretched Divine Beast cave and find Dran's lair. That's your first goal. Since you're a beginner, I'll give you a lesson on how to fight in the dungeon. First, to advance to the next floor in a dungeon, acquire a gate key for the door leading to the next level. The gate key for this dungeon is called Dran's Crest. Yeah, each dungeon has a different gate key. For the Divine Beast Cave, Dran's Crest will be the gate key. The gate key is almost always carried by a monster in the dungeon. You must defeat the monsters to acquire the gate key. Since you can't tell which one has the key, you just have to defeat them all one by one. Now, this is actually something important to note if you're coming to this game from the second game, or going to the second game from this one. In this game in particular, Every time you enter a specific floor, doesn't matter, the monster that has the key is random. It's not like in Dark Cloud 2 where you're guaranteed to have a specific enemy type that has the key, and you can get away with just killing that particular enemy type. Abstract Advocate, how you doing, man? I just talked about you. Are your ears burning? But yeah, the gate keys are completely randomized every time you come in, so just go nuts, kill everything. Next, I'll tell you about how to return to the ground level rather than advancing to the floor below. To return to ground level, mind connect with me. In other words, speak with your mind. When you do this, I will transport your body to the ground level. Just select Leave Dungeon from the main menu. But be aware, if there are monsters left on the floor, the mind connect won't work. It will be blocked by their evil energies. In such cases, use the item Escape Powder to get out on your own. The Northern Village Chief has lots of it, so be sure to get it before you go. You can also mind connect with me when you go through the gate to the next floor of a dungeon. When you re-enter the dungeon, you can start at the next new level, so you don't have to worry about losing progress. Next, it's on to weapons. Be aware that weapons are breakable. The more you use a weapon, the more it wears, and finally it breaks. Broken weapons will disappear. This is not 100% true. There is a specific class of weapon that if it breaks, you can keep it, but it'll be nigh useless until you fix it. This is a big difference. Just mentioned this playthrough of yours like 2 days ago. I'm assuming you're talking about my Dark Cloud 2 LP, because as you can see, I just started this today after taking a week-long break after Batman. But big thing with weapons in this one, unlike the second game, is barring very specific exceptions, when a weapon breaks, it's gone, and you lose all the investment on it. So you want to be really, really careful when it comes to maintaining weapon durability, because you can lose hours of progress from one careless swing. To prevent weapons from breaking, use the item Repair Powder. It will restore their WHP. The longer you use a weapon by repairing, the more magic it absorbs from monsters and thus becomes stronger. Nope, this one I've been thinking about your educational playthrough. Oh, well, welcome aboard. It said that when a weapon reaches its full strength, it can change to a more powerful form. Keep that in mind. Oh, I cast a special spell on the dagger you have on you, so it'll never disappear. But all the new weapons you will get during the quest will disappear once they break, so be careful. Don't waste your hard work by letting a weapon break and disappear. Finally, the important stuff. The sphere, Atla, where I protected and sealed the fragments of the world. If you see an Atla, don't hesitate to touch it. You can absorb the contents of an Atla into Atlamillia by touching it. When you return to the surface, you'll be able to begin reassembling these fragments of the world. Whoops, today's lesson ran a little long. That's it for the lecture today. Now, Telin, show me your true ability on this quest. Okay, so now we are inside the dungeon proper. I'm going to go over some different abilities here in the dungeon. Most importantly, the UI, because the character UI actually comes into play here. This will also give me an opportunity to explain inventory. So first, character UI. The three really big things you want to pay attention to are the HUD elements underneath the attack and defense there. That heart is your HP. I also say thanks, laddie, whenever I blank with your poison. I'll let you explain it when it happens. Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad I could teach you that trick. But, yeah. Looking down below, heart is your health. When that reaches 0, you die. Unlike the second game, you don't get a game over if all of your party members wipe. You'll just get kicked out of the dungeon, lose half your money, and get resuscitated. Let's see, below that, the sword icon, that's your weapon's durability. If that hits 0, your weapon breaks. This particular weapon that we have, the dagger, this is a starter weapon. So starter weapons can never disappear if they break. They'll just become useless versions of themselves that are guaranteed to only do 1 damage per hit until you fix them. So you don't get screwed if you break the only weapon you have. And below that, we have a canteen with 3 water drops. That is the thirst gauge. Dark Cloud, at its basis, is a dungeon crawler. And a lot of 80s and 90s dungeon crawlers had some sort of time limit mechanic to keep you from going around in the dungeons for too long. In this case, it's thirst. It's not hunger like most kind of dungeon crawlers would have. Food is instead healing. So we have to maintain the thirst gauge. If that bottoms out, we'll start gradually losing HP until we dehydrate to death. So the final thing I want to mention here is active items. You have 3 hotbar slots that you can assign items to. You can have these items there to use them in the field instead of having to open the inventory to use them. Like, for example, if I wanted to, I could slot this bread in here, and if I take damage, instead of having to open the menu, come here, and then select the bread and drag and drop it onto Towen, I can just back out. Using the D-pad, you can see I can move that cursor up top. I can select the bread, press the square button, and he'll eat the bread. Oh, looks like we have a guest. So, combat basics. Press circle to lock onto a target, and you press X to attack. Alright. So, this game, unlike the second game, is more emphasis on hit-and-run tactics with powerful single strikes. It'll make more sense when you actually run into enemies that are tougher than these guys. But enemy blocking in this game is actually a really big deal, which they tend to do more often if you attempt to combo them. So you'll notice, if you guys have seen my second game, the playthrough of the second game, the enemy UI is a lot more simplistic. It's just their health bar, they don't have a rage gauge or anything, so hitting them repeatedly is not going to piss them off and make them do more damage after a time. So, one of these floating spheres, these are the Atlaspheres that we are being tasked to come down here and grab. Only Towen can interact with these. There are multiple characters, much like the second game, whereas the second game has 2, technically 3 characters in the form of Steve the Ride Pod. There are a grand total of 6 characters you can play. Ow. Ouch. Yeah, we don't have a lot of defense, so just that little bat hurt. I'm lucky I didn't get poisoned. But, there are 6 playable characters, and each have their own sort of like special ability that only works in the dungeons. Towen's is the ability to open the Atla up. Only he can do that, because he's the Atlamillia's chosen one. So you may notice, if you look at my weapon UI, there's a small blue bar slowly filling the more enemies I kill. That is the weapon's ABS gauge. It's effectively weapon experience. Unlike the second game, you don't automatically gain a level when that gets... I hate bats. Fighting bats with Towen when you just have the dagger is a huge pain. I'm probably going to have to heal here pretty soon. But, let's see. So this is a secondary door. I know I'm talking about a lot of things at once. But like the second game, there's the gate key, which is how you get out. The secondary key, which for this is the bone key. It opens this side door. And there's actually a back door key, too. But the game will actually explain that on its own eventually, so I'll go over that when the game decides to do so. Okay, good. I may not have to use my bread. There's a healing pool up there, that blue round area on the map. Now, even though it's probably at this point in the game counterproductive to do so, I do want to try and at least get my dagger's ABS filled up. I don't want to upgrade it when I do that, though. I want to save that for later, because I have a specific plan for it. So anyway, that chest we picked up just gave us a navigational item. We got the magical crystal. That acts like the compass from the Zelda games. You can see all these dots. Red dots are enemies, orange dots are treasure chests, green dots are Atla orbs you've missed. There's a blue dot down there, which I'll explain what that is in a minute. Oh, yeah, the bats glitch sometimes. I think the longest I've had a bat glitch like that was like over a minute. It was actually kind of funny. Okay, so we know that chest is going to have the secondary key in it, because that's how you get them. Road. Okay, so you hear that beeping noise. That's the durability on my dagger getting low. The beep will start when it gets to a relatively low point. You'll also notice the durability gauges turn purple. And the closer it gets to breaking, the faster the beep will become. Okay, so I didn't exactly go over this up above, but whenever you see this exclamation point, this is a use item prompt. If you press X, it just tells you, hey, there's something you can do here. Open the use menu with square. If you press square, you can access your inventory and use a specific item here. You want to use the bone key. I'm being a little cagey about some combat details, because the game will explain them eventually. Okay, dagger has taken extreme damage and will be broken if you don't do something. That's the game warning me my dagger's about to break. Generally speaking, when it comes to melee weapons, I like getting the durability to about 2. Yeah. Okay, 2. I want to fix that now. The big thing with weapon durability, with melee weapons in particular, is enemies have kind of like a material grade, so to speak. There's like flesh, wood, rock, metal, and a couple other things. But generally, the higher the durability, or the higher the material grade, the more damage it chips off your weapon. There's a bit of randomness to it. It's not always 1-to-1 for each type. Like flesh will usually take off 1. Sometimes it'll take off 2. Whereas metal, which is the highest, metal I think takes off 10. And there's a random chance it'll take off like 11 or 12. So yeah, generally speaking, don't get it down to 1 just in case that stray hit when you're on 2 happens to do the 2 durability damage and just causes your weapon to snap. So, we can technically leave if we wanted to, because I've gotten the gate key and my ABS is full. However, there's a ton of stuff down here that I want to pick up. We need the Atla. That's critical for story progress. Like, we cannot beat the game without these Atla orbs, so we gotta come here and grab these. The chests are optional, but very helpful. Okay, fire. That is a weapon attachment. That will be something I'll go over in a minute. I'm not particularly fussed about that at the moment. Wind gem, that's a bomb. If I wanted to, I could put that in the active item slots to throw it. Batten, that's more fishing bait. That's basically free money. Dropped an item. A prickly. Nice. So, something you may have noticed down at the... I never actually went over, like, the actual, like, proper UI. I'm gonna go over some more UI elements. You know about the heads-up display and the active item slots. In the upper right, you'll see the floor I'm on, and you'll also see... Excuse me. Antivirus! Go away! Freaking pop-ups, I swear. Sorry about that. But you'll see the navigational stuff. It tells you what floor you're on. That piece of paper is the map. Much like Zelda, shows you the map layout of the floor. I explained the magical crystal shows enemies, objects, and stuff like that. Down at the bottom left, you will see my dagger and what says speed. Speed is not actually an indication of how fast your weapon swings. What that is it limits your ability to do a combo. If you don't have a full speed bar, you can't do a full 5 hits with towing. Observe. And then you'll see the bar's not full, I can't do more than 1, maybe 2 hits. So that's another reason why this game kind of encourages hit-and-run tactics with single strikes, because you'll see the first hit doesn't really do anything with the speed gauge. So now there's this. This isn't particularly useful to us right now. This is a random effect tile. This can have any number of effects, but because we have a dagger equipped, which is a starter weapon, if we run through this, we'll just get a positive status effect that won't do anything. See, pumped with energy. That is the stamina status. What that does is that, I don't think it quite doubles your stats, but it does increase your attack and defense. Getting thirsty. Okay, so I'm actually going to head to the healing pool real quick. And I'm probably going to get super thirsty before I get there. But I should be able to make it just fine. But yeah, stamina just increases your stats. Do more damage, take less damage. Thirst reached its limit, health's beginning to deteriorate. You can see my health is starting to slowly go down, like I had been poisoned. So thirst is a pretty big deal, especially in the early parts of the game. So the last UI element of the dungeon that I'll explain is the map itself. You can see that purple arrow, or pinkish purple arrow, that is your current position. A green square on the map, usually at the end of a hallway, is where you entered from. The yellow square is the exit, that's where you need to go. Any sort of like orange line is usually a door. Any sort of like shaded blue area is a healing pool, and that purple question mark is the entrance into a back floor. I'm a bit concerned that every time I open up the... You're going to try and stay in the dungeon for as long as you can or get out early. I'm going to leave early. during this part of the game. The big thing with Dark Cloud is that a lot of its difficulty is fairly front-loaded, because you just don't have a constant supply line. You get one of every essential, and that's it. Seems like you've finally come back with some Atla. I mean, I was only gone for like, what, maybe 15 minutes? Very well then, I shall teach you as I promised. The pieces sealed inside Atla are released by touching the Atla with your left hand, where the power of Atlamillia resides. Buildings and people that were sucked into the Atlamillia will be restored to their original form. Once you bring them back to the ground level, you can arrange them as you wish. By going back and forth between the dungeon and ground level, you can restore the Earth to its original form. That's your mission as the one who was granted the power of Atlamillia. Now, let us move on. This may get a bit technical. If you wanted to place buildings, etc., press the select button while walking and go to edit mode. Press the select button again to return to walking mode. You can use this to kind of like fast travel around the town. I refer to this as diorama warping. In edit mode, you can reassemble buildings that have fallen apart and place them on the ground. Seeing is believing. Try it yourself. Must be faster than listening to my lecture. At least you're self-aware that you're being annoying. Oh yes, and if you ever forget the things I teach you, use this. The manual. This is basically the help receiver from the second game. It unlocks a help menu that lets you look at in-depth tutorials. It's a guide for using Atlamillia and other things. I wrote it for beginners like you. Manual can be selected from the main menu. Read it really carefully. Okay, I leave the world's reconstruction to you. I'll be watching. So long. He'll be back. Okay, so first instance of diorama warping, we're just going to go all the way over here, plop ourselves down, and go see the mayor. Now, something important that I like to do in the early stages of the game here. Oh yeah, something I forgot to mention, if you go to the inventory screen, if you have an item selected, you can press triangle to immediately set it to an active item. Can't take it off that way. You can also press square to organize stuff. I generally like keeping the organization or the auto sort to where my water is on top, because that's probably the item I'm going to be using most frequently in the dungeons. But as I was saying before, Dark Cloud 1's difficulty is mostly front-loaded, like at the very beginning before you get access to a shop, just because your only means of resupply is talking to this guy. Now our only hope is Dran. Dran has always watched over us. I'm sure Dran has watched us this time too, and will help us. But really, this time even Dran's windmill where Dran's magic power dwells is stored. Ah, you can remove a stack of active items with square. Thank you, Abstract. I actually forgot about that. Thank you. But yeah, the first time you talk to him, he'll say that, but if you talk to him again, this looks to be no easy task. I put some items you'll be needing in your bag. Be careful, okay? Now, whenever you talk to him, he will always give you a tasty water, some bread, an antidote drink, an escape powder, and a repair powder, assuming you don't have any of those. If you already have one of those items, he won't give you another one. So something I like to do at the very beginning of the game, one floor at a time, leave after every floor, come to this guy, get resupplied, fix the weapon, restore your thirst, get set up to full, talk again. There's also the secret challenge found in the save screen, which you just became obsessed. There's a secret challenge in the save screen? Now that's interesting. Tell me more. I've never heard of that before. Minimum dungeon run. Ah, yes, that one. So if you go to save, which is actually a good thing he brought that up. Let's see. I will actually save over in a second file. So saving complete. We'll go ahead and go over the save UI. File 2, it shows your file name, your playtime. Dungeon is how many times you've run through any dungeon, not just one in particular. It'll also show what characters you've recruited and the name of the location you're in. You can only save in towns, though. Can't save in dungeons. But let's see, we should be good to go. Yeah. Full thirst, full durability. Let's go back to the cave. I could do some town building, but there's no real reason to at this point. It's better just to get as far as we can. This will also let me get all the front-loaded tutorials out of the way. Demon Shaft in 60 ain't bad. Yeah, I know how to do runs, that's for sure. kitty. Okay, no tutorial this time, so the game will go over some more combat basics when we get to the next floor, I believe. There shouldn't be anything new on this floor in particular. Ooh, ooh, that was lucky. Got it in one. So yeah, we don't need... And the nice thing is... Oh, no, can I not do that? Oh, you can. Okay, this game's a lot more generous about letting you open chests when there's monsters around. So, I normally don't do this, but because I got the gate key on the first monster, I see no reason to kill anything else. Because, well, I might get money. That's a good reason, too, I guess. Money's kind of strapped at the moment. Oh, never mind. We actually do have a new monster. Yamish, also known as Darkness in the second game. Yay, money! Single digits, but money's money. Enemies may also drop items that you can use to sell for money. Bone key. Now, fun fact, the Yamish monsters here, these are not in the Japanese version. These are exclusively overseas. Let's see, a candy box? What do we got? Oh yeah, something else about chests in this game. Escape powder, we can sell that. How to use an escape powder, by the way, it's not like in the second game where you can just kind of drag and drop or use from the menu or whatever. You have to use that by using the Leave Dungeon prompt. If you attempt to use Leave Dungeon when monsters are around and you don't have an escape powder, if you leave anyway, the game treats it like you died and cuts your money in half. Which actually does have its use. It's really easy to hit the money cap in this game. Because even though you start strapped and money's kind of hard to come by at first, once you actually get some capital and with a little bit of luck, you can actually hit the money cap really quick, and it's actually kind of annoying because if you hit the money cap, you can't sell anything. Okay, there's our way. And you know what? I'll actually go ahead and just open up the inventory spot. Because inventory is a lot more tight in this game. Having a full inventory is actually a problem. Ooh, premium water. So this actually brings up a point about Dark Cloud 1 that I like talking about with people, is Dark Cloud 1's actually a really good experiment in randomness, because what we have right here, keep in mind, we're like on the second floor of the first dungeon. This is an endgame consumable. That's a full thirst heal. And we just found that in a box. So, no money, that's fine. Cheese, that's a mid-game heal. I guess I can talk about food for a second. Oh, careful, careful. I'm really lucky this guy's not poisoning me. I'm sure you have. I noticed you've been playing this game a lot lately. I've been meaning to jump into your streams and talk to you about it, but you apparently have your chat locked down. So, I couldn't. But yeah, something to keep in mind with those bats in particular is if they hit you, they have a chance of poisoning you. I've been getting really lucky because they've been kicking my tail in, and they haven't poisoned me yet. So, hey, nice. That actually does bring up a point about those healing pools. The healing pools will fully restore your HP and your thirst, but it will not cure any status effects you accrue. So, keep that in mind. But back on the topic of consumables, last floor I was tempted to use bread. There we go. Last floor I was tempted to use bread to heal myself before I found that healing pool. Bread restores 50 HP. I want to say cheese restores 80, I think? So, cheese is a mid-game heal. Oh yeah, something else I keep meaning to bring this up, but keep getting... Ooh, an extra repair powder. That's nice. We can actually go to the next floor with the supplies we picked up here. Ooh, that didn't hit me somehow. Okay, yeah, you need to get fixed. So, I have the repair powder to do so. Oh, no, not customize, repair. That's another way you can repair your weapon, by the way, is by going to the weapon tab and just hitting repair. So I've actually got enough supplies to keep going if I wanted to. May not be a bad plan. Though I may go topside anyway just to get an extra repair powder, because I'm sure I'll need to repair my weapon again soon. Now, what you're supposed to do at this point is you'll notice my ABS is full, I can now upgrade it. How this works is if you put an attachment on your weapon, you'll see you get points for your attachments, and if you have attachments on them in any of these slots, it'll give you those stats. If you upgrade the weapon when there's attachments on it, the attachments will fuse with the weapon, and the stat boosts will become permanent. Upgrading on its own, even without attachments, still gives you stat boosts. But I have a very specific plan in mind with this dagger, so I'm only going to want to upgrade it once. But there's a big chest there. I'll go over that in a second. Something I wanted to bring up about chests, since we have a big one. In Dark Cloud 2, you can open chests from any angle. In this game, you have to open them from the front. Inundated with people harassing me to play games I've never heard of, and wrong/bad backseating. I ended up screwed up a 6-hour session because of bad info. Just saving mental health while still sharing and not banning everything. Oh, sorry, I was too busy reading your message and got poisoned. So, let me kill this guy. Okay. So, he's dead. I'm gonna have to leave now to get another antidote, but that's fine. I'm sorry to hear that you're having to deal with that, man. It's okay. I wasn't paying attention. That was my fault. But he was the last monster, so it's fine. Now, something nice about the mayor is that I could use this tasty water if I wanted to, and he'll give me another one. He only checks specifically for the items he gives you. So having that premium water won't stop him from giving me another tasty water. So you'll notice I can only open this from the front, and you'll also notice it's big. The second game didn't have these. All chests were kind of the same size. Oh, we got a Happy Clown to boot. You'll notice the Happy Clown actually looks different. I was actually kind of hoping this guy wouldn't show up yet, but okay. So now we have to choose between a big box or a small box, whereas in the second game, it's red and yellow. I believe the size actually does matter which one you pick. The bigger box has a chance of having proper weapons in them, whereas the small box is more consumables. Maybe you'll get attachments if you're lucky. I want a new weapon, so give me the big box. Ooh, a sax. Now that's actually... Can I do anything with that? I have a weapon chart. Let me see. How good is that? Like, I know that's a fairly decent weapon. I think that's up there, I think. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, no, that's not this one. Yeah, no, that's not a basic weapon. Ooh, that's a tier 2 weapon. So I actually don't want to use this as a proper weapon. I'll level it up, but what stats do you have? Okay, so you've got a decent thunder stat. You've got plant, and ooh, you've got mimic. The fact that you have mimic makes you really good. Yeah, and 3 slots, like Abstract Advocat says. So, I might just slot the fire one on you. For now. Now, more attack power than the dagger means that this thing will actually be a lot better for us. However, this is not a particular weapon that I want, primarily because it's too high level. A weapon being too high level actually does have some detriments. So I'll use this, and I'll have a plan in the future for explaining how I plan on using this, but for now, this will just be here to have it. And we can work on this while we look for something we actually want. Specifically, what I'm looking for is I want to get either a base lard. Let me see. I'm looking for specifically a base lard, a gladius, or a kitchen knife. There's actually more to the clown loop, but it's a bit spoilerish. Honestly, I don't mind if you explain that, because the happy clown in this game is really, really rare. Because he only pops out of big chests. He's way more common in the second game, so go nuts. Go ahead and explain it, because we'll probably only see him maybe... I'd say we'll probably maybe see him probably no more than 3 times a dungeon. So that's not a huge deal if you explain it. I'm actually kind of curious myself. So the nice thing about having this second weapon is now we can actually swap between the two. It'll help save on durability some. Assuming, of course, when you refer to spoilerish, you're not actually like referring to future areas or whatnot. I'll let you use your own discretion for that. Okay, Base Lard, Gladius, or Chris Knife is what we're looking for. Or not Chris Knife, Base Lard, Gladius, or Kitchen Knife is what we need. Now, thankfully, there's no limit as to how many times you can actually come into the dungeon, so if I don't find what I'm looking for, I can just continue running the thing until I do. I'm back! Exciting, eh? Don't give me that look, this is for your benefit. Now, here's the intermediate course. I won't repeat myself, so listen carefully. First is the lock-on. You already know that pressing the circle button locks on to monsters. This is true. Red target frame will appear around an enemy for as long as they are locked on. However, you may not have known that the L1 R1 button functions change during lock-on. Pressing the L1 button during lock-on switches the lock-on to another enemy. This is different from the first game. In the first game, you could just press the circle button again to swap the targets around. Pressing the L1 button repeatedly cycles through all the enemies in your field of view. Next, pressing the R1 button activates your guard. Guarding allows you to defend against enemy attacks. Unfortunately, unlike the second game, guarding in this game is kind of useless. The animation is a lot slower than in the second game, so you can't use it to guard cancel. Status effects can still go through, and I mean like all status effects. Even if you take no damage from the attack itself, the status effect will still go through. The second game was a lot nicer about that. If you could block it, you wouldn't get afflicted. Not so in this game. Don't forget the guard function, it can save you in the heat of battle. I think I use guard a grand total of like maybe 3 times. There are very, very few situations where guarding is actually handy. You're much better off dodging. Also, did you know about the attribute change function for your weapons? This changes weapons' elemental attributes. There are 5 attributes: fire, ice, thunder, wind, and holy. Many monsters are vulnerable to a specific attribute. To change a weapon's attribute, use the attribute or customize command in the weapons menu and change it there. Of course, you cannot activate an attribute unless the weapon has points for that attribute. What do you think? Easy, eh? Don't want to fry your noodles, so that's enough info for this time. Good luck to you, boy. See you around. So, now that he's explained that, size of the box actually determines the weapon given. There are weapons classified as big and some small. There are 3 of each type. You can only get weapons that are currently available to the exact floor you are on, even if you've unlocked more. Now, that latter part I knew, because that's how the game determines like what kind of weapon you can get, like for specific characters. I did not know that there are big and large weapons, so I may have actually been better off picking the small one. But hey, there we go, because every time I've picked small, I've gotten like an attachment or a piece of bread or something. But anyway, I'm going to use this opportunity to go over like the weapon screen. You can have 10 weapons per character, I think, or something like that. In this menu, you can equip, tube, switch weapons, customize. This lets you put attachments on things. You can see I have a flame attachment on here. Let's go over the basic stats. There are 3 different pages. There's basic stats, attribute stats, and monster stats. So, basic stats, WHP is durability, ABS is weapon experience, attack is your base damage, endurance is sort of like your weapon's defense stat. When I mentioned earlier about there being a little bit of random variance when it comes to melee weapons in particular, losing durability when hitting stuff, that chance is affected by your endurance. The higher your endurance, the less likely you are to lose more points. Speed increases the speed of the, speed gauge. It recharges faster the higher you have. Speed goes up really fast, though, so you very rarely need to actively invest into it. And magical power improves the power of attributes, which are over here. Attributes, as was mentioned, you can't use an attribute unless you have points in it, and this gives your weapon an elemental affinity. If you hit an elemental weakness of a monster, you will do more damage to them. I don't think there are resistances, or if there are resistances, they're not very noteworthy. There are some late-game enemies that are outright immune to elemental damage and can only be damaged by non-elemental attacks, which only melee weapons and select few ranged weapons can do. So that's something to keep in mind. You can turn your attributes off. For the most part, you want to keep them on, though. So the way attributes work is the base power is determined by how many points you have in the attribute, and that further gets modified by your magic power stat. And then, of course, you have the 5 elements. All enemies are weak to different things, or maybe none at all. Next, we have anti-monster stats, or creature type stats. All monsters in the game have a creature type, and the higher you have in these, the more damage you will do to those types specifically. Like here we have anti-dragon, anti-undead, anti-marine, anti-rock, anti-plant, anti-mage, anti-mimic, anti-metal, anti-sky, and anti-beast. To kind of give you an idea, the enemies we've been fighting so far, the dashers and the bats are beasts, the skeletons are undead, and I want to say the Yamiches are also considered undead. So let's see, we'll go ahead and put this on here just to give it something. And, yeah, we can actually go into those combat functionalities now that the game's explained them. Because otherwise, the shoulder buttons just kind of control the camera. A keg. Oh, these things. This is when the game starts getting a little unforgiving. That's our first stone enemy, the statue dog. But we'll deal with this guy first. Oh yeah, look at that, floored. Large chests are only spawned in when the game rolls a number between 1 and 100 and hits 88 or higher. When another roll determines the large chest itself, there's 6 different chests, including the clown. The clown's exact loot is actually determined only after he speaks. His loot pool is determined after dungeon's generated. So jealous of that sacks. Haven't seen one in the last 50 hours. I'd give it to you if I could. I don't really want this thing. Now, statue dogs are kind of annoying because these are the first enemy that really kind of guard. You'll notice he's kind of in that sitting position. When he's like that, you can't hurt him. He needs to jump out and assume his dog form before you can actually hurt him. Now, this is a stone type enemy. I believe stone enemies take a minimum of 5 off your weapons. It's either 3 or 5, something like that. Oh no, I got lucky. But yeah, this is one of the big benefits of having a high attack power weapon, is that you can kill the really sturdy stuff in one hit. Ooh, a throbbing cherry. I'll keep that. That could come in handy in a pinch. That actually has 3 uses, actually. It's fishing bait for one. That can also be used to cure the freeze status. Or if you throw it at an enemy, you can use it to freeze them. So it can be used in a myriad of ways. I'm probably going to keep it on me just in case I do get frozen. Oh yeah, we have another one. We have statue. I suppose now that I'm at this point in the game where I have a proper weapon, and I've explained most of the basics, I can go over the various monsters. Oh yeah, see that did 3? So yeah, it's 3 for these guys because they're stone. Okay, so now that I actually have a weapon that's not the dagger, I can explain this a bit better. There's various positive and negative effects. Positive effects can be something like the stamina status, which can be randomized unless you have a starter weapon equipped. You can double your money. One of your stats can randomly go up. What other effects are there? I forget exactly. Oh yeah, you can get your ABS completely refilled. Your weapon can get fully repaired for free. Some other negative effects include losing almost all of your durability, having your max durability reduced, all enemies getting the stamina status, and losing half your money, among other things. So let's see what we get. Monster is pumped with energy. Okay, so monsters now have the stamina status, so they do more damage and take less damage. Now, thankfully, the status is temporary, and as you can see, does not last very long. Ooh. Renee, that's Toan's mother, I believe. ABS of equipped weapon became full. Okay, so this basically just got a free level, so I don't need to kill anything with this anymore. I'm hesitant to upgrade it because I don't have enough attachments to actually make full use of it. Do I have Dran's Crest? I do not. Okay, well, let's go beat the crap out of these guys and see if one of them drops the key. My house. Yay! Time to switch train the dagger. Nah, dagger's full. Both these weapons are full. I'm not going to be upgrading them just yet, though. Like I said, I just don't have the stuff. Okay, so that's the way out. Oh, great. That's what I needed, a bat with stamina. Let's see if I can... Okay, good. It wore off. So, come here. Oh, nice. That's another big bonus to having the sax. It has longer reach than the dagger does. So the backswing can sometimes hit things trying to flank you. It's really nice. Okay, nice. We got the map. Now, unfortunately, the maps in this game, by comparison to Dark Cloud 2, they're not as complex. They're usually not as big either. Like, looking at this is probably about as complex as it's going to get around here. And I see another big chest. Hey, nice. So what I want to do, actually, is I want to avoid that statue dog if I can. Okay. I'm going to run in, get the chest. A Gladius. Now, this is something I want. Okay, I want this weapon. So, let's see. Swap those around. I'll get the kills with the sax, and then I can switch to the Gladius to actually, like, make sure it gets the experience. So you don't need this anymore. I'll give this to you. Alright, now if I swap weapons real quick... There we go. Get a little bit of ABS from my Gladius there. Now you'll notice the Gladius only has slightly more HP, or slightly more attack power than the dagger does. That's because that's a tier 1 weapon. Sax, I believe, is tier 2. So it's got better attacks, better base stats. Hence why we're doing so good with this. And you can see the enemies don't give a whole lot of experience. We're only getting like 2 ABS per hit, or per kill. But having a more powerful weapon to actually train up weaker ones is a nice advantage of getting a weapon like this. I just noticed we don't have a healing pool on this level, so we're definitely going to have to leave once we're done here. Let's see what else we got here. Magical crystal. Oh, that's all the monsters. Okay. Another big chest! Wow. 2 big chests on the same floor. I don't think I've seen that very often. What do we got here? Oh, you again! Okay, Abstract, what do you think? I'll let you choose this time, since I got a sax from choosing the big box last time. What do you think we should pick? Chests are 100% seated in the room when you enter the dungeon. If you see something good in the dungeon, stay in. I mean, I could go either way. Well, Let's test your theory. Let's go with a small box. Hey, a useless attachment, but an attachment nonetheless. Speed +3, that's something. Ooh, tram oil. Okay, so unfortunately we don't have the supplies to actually make use of that, but that is a backfloor key. If we went into that room with the purple question mark, we'd see there's a rusty trolley there. We could use that to get to the back floor, and the back floor not only has tougher monsters, but also has better treasure. I want to hang on to that for when we eventually have a larger supply pool. For now, I think it'd be in our best interest to leave. And we're going to be continuing this for about 7 floors or so. I think 7's when we hit the main, plot event. Because we can't just go all the way through to the bottom. We will eventually get hit by a roadblock. And said roadblock will force us to, said roadblock will force us to build and do that kind of stuff. Okay, basement 4. If this is what I think this is, I might have to be using a save state for this one, but let's see. Yep, it's this floor. Okay. Now you die. Speaking of death, this is actually something I haven't brought up with these guys. It's something they have a random chance of doing. But whenever you kill an undead monster like a skeleton, they have a random chance of getting some of their health back and just standing back up. So you may need to hit them multiple times to make sure they stay down. Do I have any bombs? I do. I have a windstone, I believe. Now that guy actually dropped something. What did you drop? Bread. Okay. Pulled off a triple kill and got 3 items. Very nice. Toan? He's a tough one, Toan. You'll have to duel him. It's beautiful. A duel is a special form of combat. Controller button markers will move from right to left. Press the right button when they line up with the light blue bar. Arrows such as that mean press in that direction with either the directional buttons or the left analog stick. The closer the button mark is to the center of the blue bar when you press it, the better your rating will be. If you hit all the marks with the right timing, you'll be victorious. When the duel starts, you'll be giving an indication of it with this mark. Be aware of it. Now, this is where I'm going to use the save state because a lot of first-time players get screwed up by this. Let's see. System, save state to slot 0. Okay. So, big thing with the duels is you'll notice there's the lighter blue sections where you have to hit it, and there's an even brighter blue section in the middle. If you get it in the middle, you'll get higher points, and if you get all of them perfect, you'll actually get really good prizes. However, if you screw up and don't get perfect, you either get nothing or you get a reduced prize. I save stated there because if I screw up on the very last move, the only way I'd be able to try again is by resetting the system, and loading a save state is just faster. So, let's see if I can do this. Here it begins. Stay focused. Okay, I'm going to save state here instead. Let's see. Save state. Thank you. Got it. Excellent. And you heard that tune. Anybody who's been on my streams, when I get a follower, will recognize that too, and this is where that came from. Alright, so, excellent. We should have gotten, yes. If you do perfect and you get that excellent, you'll get a gift from the Fairies of Terra, and they will give you a random gem. So, let's see what aquamarines give. Okay, you don't give any base stats. You give ice. I believe you also give... Yes, I'm keeping it. Let's see. I believe you give fish and fly, I think. Yes, you do. Okay, so I'll keep that there. Gems are really nice. I'll keep that there. General rule of thumb until you get later in the game to the point where you can farm them, give all your gems to Toan, especially anything that gives metal. Let's see, Dran's Crest. So that's guaranteed. However, if you open this up, we get a power-up powder. Now, if you didn't do that perfect, I think you'd get something like an Undead Buster or a Beast Buster or like a Elemental attachment. I forget exactly. It's been so long. But, we can just go. Now I'm actually going to continue. I scum for specific gems because I don't respect my time. Everything's useful at this point in the game, so I don't let it bother me too much. How's it going? Got the hang of it yet? The floors beneath this one are even tougher. Now to the advanced course to give you a fair chance against the meaner enemies down below. Are you using your charge attack when fighting enemies? Hold the circle button, actually X, not circle. I believe in Japan it's circle, because that's a controller difference with them. Down and after your body flashes, release it. With this, you'll do a jump slash. It's effective against flying enemies and ground enemies. Let's talk more about weapons. So how are your weapons growing? If you don't start upgrading them now, you can get in trouble later. Before you upgrade, it's a good idea to keep attachments on. If you upgrade with them on, then the weapon can absorb the power of the attachment to add to its own power. As I mentioned, they will become permanent. But there is a power limit for each weapon. There is no need to upgrade its ability beyond this limit. That's only somewhat true. The second game was more about this than this one is. There are stat caps specifically for the attack and magic power stats. Every other stat on a weapon can be maxed to 99 as low as tier 1. It's only attack and magic that actually have caps you need to be aware of. When weapons reach level 5, plus 5, or greater, they can status break. A status break is breaking down a weapon into a synth sphere that contains the power of that weapon. Specifically what that does is that seals 60% of the weapon's stats into an attachment, which you can put into a blue attachment slot. If you install this onto other weapons as an attachment, you can add the old weapon's attributes to the new weapon. The attributes in the synth sphere will add to the new weapon's attributes permanently when the sphere is absorbed. However, the attributes received may be less than that of the weapon before being made into a synth sphere. Not may, will. If the new weapon's limit is higher, then you can make a more powerful weapon. Pretty cool, huh? That's it for today's lecture. Take care of yourself. I will always be watching you. Now, we didn't find one yet. There's another specific weapon I want to get here called a Bone Rapier. But some weapons will have special abilities on them. Plus 3 speed is actually helpful on the very first status. Broken Dagger. Well, yeah, trial. I didn't even lock onto that guy. Money. But yeah, status breaking will seal 60% of your stats into a synth sphere. If a weapon has a special power, it will also transfer that special power. Like, for example, there are some weapons that can poison the enemy or siphon HP off of them. If you status break a weapon that has one of those, you'll also give whatever weapon you're attaching it to that power. Windmill Blades. I open this. More cheese, more food. I need more water is what I need. But anyway, man, I keep getting, like, sidetracked. Enemies. Dashers are fairly basic. They just run up to you and try and smack you with a club. Endurance plus 3. That's actually a really good attachment. Speed, as I mentioned, is kind of a dump stat that you really don't need to worry about because most weapons have a really decent speed stat. And status breaking is the way to go to get a lot of power really quickly. Speed is usually one of those stats that gets maxed out first because so many weapons just have such a high speed stat to begin with. Okay, this guy, he's a bit meaner, so I want to use the sacks on him, because this should two-shot him. Hey, and there's our Transgress. Nice. Another power-up powder. What this does, by the way, I forgot to mention, this acts like a rare candy from Pokemon. It upgrades your weapons to the next level without needing to gain experience. Unlike Pokemon, however, there's no drawbacks to using these, aside from their rarity. You're not going to be getting reduced stats or anything if you use these continually. Another escape powder, that'll be some good money. Bone key. Alright, so this here is the back floor entrance. This is the broken cart. We can use the tram oil to open that up and go to the back floor if we wanted to, but like I said, I want to save that for later. Let's go ahead and open up our inventory here. The charge attack would be really good against those bats. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Honestly, I wouldn't mind that endurance +3 instead. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this. Now you'll notice gem, endurance +3. I hit upgrade. This becomes a Gladius +1. It fuses those in. Now look at the stats. Right now, you won't notice a difference because these are the stats before the upgrade happens. Notice 10 attack, 35 endurance, 60 speed, 6 magic. Now that it's upgraded, whenever you upgrade a weapon, regardless of whether you have any attachments or not, all of the base stats here, these main 4, will increase by 1. I've been trying to determine if you can predict the backflow loot by seeing the front's chests. I mean, hey, if you can, awesome. So let's go and put the fire and the speed on here, because those are the only attachments we have. But yeah, so what I like to do early on is actually focus on elemental attachments, because all of these will just kind of go up on their own as I level up anyway. So I can focus on getting the elements early on, which will result in a lot less grinding later. Alright, that's a stone enemy, so let's use the sacks. Ah, that's what we need the bone key for. But anyway, monsters. Like I said, Dashers, just kind of vanilla melee enemies. They run up and smack you, that's about it. Bats, as I mentioned earlier, they're just melee enemies that can poison you sometimes if they hit you. Skeleton soldiers, they just walk up and smack you. They can sometimes come back from the dead when you kill them. Ow. Ow! Yeah, that's... you want to be careful with these stone enemies. They hit really hard. Ow, 32 damage. That's almost half my health. I'm gonna run right past you and bathe real quick, thanks. Ah. Alright. But yeah, the dog statues, they're invulnerable to damage while they're in their block form, and they hit really hard when they're in their regular form. Odd Gaffer. Now that's a guy we actually want. That's the merchant. Regular statues just have a lot of HP and defense because they're made of stone, and they damage your weapons a good chunk too. That sax is going to make dealing with these so much easier. What do we got here? Magic crystal. Okay, we've got one monster and one chest left. Not too bad. Oh, it's one of you. Oh, yay, the map. How useless. Hope you like seeing that weapon menu, because I'm going to be navigating it quite a bit. At least it's a quick swap. Getting a sax during a minimum dungeon run is the dream. It's the goal after I finish up this ultimate weapon run. Hey! I mean, if I got it on the second floor of the dungeon, I'm pretty sure you can too. Yeah, now that you'll notice, now that we have some Atla on our person, we don't hear that nice music from the beginning anymore. That track was called Departure. This is just the regular Northern Village music. That needs repairing. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're having fun with the game, Abstract, because I remember during my Dark Cloud 2 LP, when you were actually playing the game for the first time, you were just constantly kicking yourself and hating it. So I'm glad you're actually having fun now that you've gotten used to it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this might be our first limited zone. If it's not this floor, it's going to be coming up pretty soon. Ah, no, it's the cat. Okay. No, we should be fine on this floor, then. I notice she's not running away from us as quickly this time. She hesitated. Alright, let's see what we got around here. Broken a weapon sense. I've forgotten what I felt that day. It's a strong feeling losing a very powerful weapon like that. Ah, good. Getting the map first thing's always very nice. So, alright, looking at this, we know we're not going to be getting a bone key, because there's no doors to open, which means more room for loot. This is good. In case you guys are wondering why I'm just, like, randomly swinging my sword at stuff sometimes, the interact key, like with the Atla and stuff, is the same as the attack button. So if I'm not standing just close enough, I'll end up swinging my sword instead. So, let me see. I'm trying to think about stuff I can talk about. Ooh! Here's a new enemy. Mimics. Mimics, I believe, are classed as either wood or stone enemies. They can poison you with their bite. And unlike the second game, this bite attack of theirs is all they've got. the hitbox is also kind of disjointed, so you can, if you time it right, sort of baseball bat them out of it. Now, those things can actually drop an item that would be really, really helpful if I can get one. If not, it's not a big deal. The items are really cheap. But we'll see. Actually, Abstract, now that I think about it, wasn't one of the weapons you broke a sax? I seem to recall you mentioning that. I'm gonna use this first. Anything good? Status of equipped weapon changed. Now, what did that do? I think it lowered my magic, is what it did. Ah, it lowered my magic, lowered my holy. Didn't affect my monster stats, though. Shamshir and Bone Rapier lost them to a Mimic. Okay. You did have a Tier 2 weapon, though. Shamshir is the other Tier 2 you can get around there. Let's see. Yeah. Right, then. Okay. So I ended up losing some stats on that one, so that's not good. But you can generally tell what kind of effect you're going to get based on the sound of the beep. If it's a deeper sounding beep, it's usually a bad thing. Okay, we got both the navigational tools really early, so that's helpful. Now, speaking of Bone Rapiers, I actually do want the Bone Rapier, because I can build that up to a weapon that has a special power on it, and I want that special power for later. Let's see. Oh yeah, I believe I was on the topic of status effects before Mimics showed up. Trying to think what status effects are in the game. Stamina is the only positive one. There's Poison, Goo, Curse, and Freeze, so 5 total if you count stamina. Oh, speak of the devil. So let's go ahead and use my antidote drink here. Okay, there is a healing pool here, so if I get poisoned again, it's not a huge deal. Thinking about it, I probably should have saved that, random effect tile. Ooh. Okay, I got lucky there. Ow. But, there's actually a bit of a trick you can do with the stamina status if you have means of giving it to yourself. The stamina status has the highest priority out of any of the status effects. So if you happen to have a negative status effect while also having stamina, stamina will eventually just kind of go away on its own. When stamina goes away... I think I was too late. Yeah, I was too late. Too busy talking. Can you imagine if the Dark Cloud 2 coin flip had ABS full instead? Entire monster transformation levels just disappearing? Oh, yeah. That'd be so nice. Wait, I'm trying to read that into context. Like, if the ABS fill-up could affect monster levels? Yes, that would be nice. Might actually make leveling up the insane tile luck harder than the doublers. Yeah, doubling your money, I've noticed, is surprisingly common. But, that's one of the reasons why being able to, on a whim, cut your money in half is actually kind of helpful. Alright, Gaffer's Buggy, speaking of money. But, status effects. Poison. Poison acts like it does in most RPGs. It just kind of gradually ticks your health away. I'm going to use the sax on you. Oh, nice! I got the item drop. Dran's Feather. Okay, so this is an item I want to equip into my active item slots now. That item is an item that can only be used in the active item slot. And what it does is you'll notice... Oh, hold on. I need to drink something. You'll notice this is kind of the pace we've been kind of plodding along at for the entire game up to this point. With the Dran's Feather, if you have it selected and you press and hold down the square button, we zoom! Makes navigating a lot less tedious. Alright, what do we got here? Mimic? No. Literal dopamine straight to the brain. Yes, another tram oil. Backfloor keys are pretty rare, so I'm happy I'm getting those. Alright, let's see. Customize. You've got a speed +3 and a fire on you, so sure, we'll go ahead and upgrade you. Okay, no more attachments for now, so if this thing gets full again, I won't be able to upgrade it, but... Alright, so we have 1, potentially 2 monsters, if that chest is in fact a mimic. Let's see. What a shocker. Last enemy had the key. Oh, well, hey, it's a mimic. How about that? Mimics do tend to drop a lot of money, though, so they're nice for that. Now, Dran's Feathers have an invisible durability that drains every time you actively use them, like while you're glowing. So, don't dry fire them. They break not super quickly, but they're noticeable when you don't have them anymore. Okay, got repair powder. So many wasted throwables, too. What, you talking about the bombs I've got, or are you talking about your own playthrough? Alright, should be good to go, though. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go ahead and equip my sacks for this one, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a limited zone coming up, and it's one that's not very nice. Throw a bomb and then transfeather away only to waste a bomb instead. Oh, yeah. See, I don't use bombs. Like, I'll use them in case of an emergency, but for the most part, bombs are money. Okay, B7. I think this is our first instance of a limited zone, but I could be wrong. We'll see if the Fairy King has anything to say about it. Excuse me. Aha! Seems like you've got the hang of it. Now for the next step. Listen carefully. I will lecture you on special areas in the dungeon. First, the back floor. I've covered these already. This is what the tram oil is for. Each dungeon have floors that have back floors, and the way to enter differs for each dungeon. You can figure it out. Back floors have valuable treasures, but the monsters there are stronger. Use them to farm the busters and slayers since the drop rate's decent. Okay, that makes sense. There's a higher risk, but also higher rewards. You should give it a shot at least once. So the thing with back floors is, as he said, the monsters are stronger. It's usually a bunch of one particular type of monster. Sometimes there's two. All monsters in the back floors have permanent stamina status, so their stats are doubled. However, their ABS payouts are also doubled, so it's really good for farming XP. Especially since transitioning between a front and back floor respawns all the monsters on the respective floor that you're going to. So you can use that to power level pretty safely. Let's see. Other things with back floors have chests, much like the front floors. You will never find big chests back there. If you see a big chest in a back floor, it is a mimic. Make no mistake, you cannot get weapons from back floors. However, you can get really rare items like power-up powders, elemental bombs. You can get random gems from the chests back there. Makes them really good for leveling up weapon statistics from getting nice gems. So they're worth going to, they're just really hard to get into because their keys are really rare. There are also special floors that are called limited zones. Those of you who have watched my Dark Cloud 2 LP will remember the floors that have seals on them. Red Seal blocked, I believe Red Seal blocked Max off, Blue Seal blocked Monica off, White Seal made it so you couldn't heal. That is Dark Cloud 2's version of the limited zones. A special sealing magic is cast there, so some of your normal actions are disabled. What actions are limited depends on the type of limited zone. Once you enter the limited zone, it's important to figure out what it is and what isn't limited. That's it. Got it? Well, if not, you'll get the hang of it as you go along. Now I'll let you go. It'll get even harder after this. Be careful. So long. So, there are... Let me think. There are 3 main types of limited zone, according to my memory. There are character-restricted limited zones, which this can't be because we only have the one character. There are drought floors, or drought-limited zones, where your thirst gauge decreases a heck of a lot faster. And then there's probably the worst one, which is the ABS drain floor, where killing monsters costs you experience instead of giving you experience. If I'm not mistaken, this is a ABS drain floor. Yeah, on this floor, using a weapon reduces ABS. Weapons can't be changed either. So this is going into what I was saying before about status effects and what they do. I mentioned poison. Poison saps your health over time. Goo slows your movements. You move and attack slower, harder to fight, harder to dodge. Freeze paralyzes you, holds you in place. And then there's Curse. Curse makes it so you cannot switch weapons. This limited zone effectively curses you. And as you can see, by killing that guy, my ABS dropped considerably. So we want to try and not kill all the monsters on this floor because we want to try and maintain an ABS level that's somewhat appropriate. Alright, so ghosts, I believe, are the first enemy that have 2 distinct attacks. They're our first enemy that has a projectile. They can spit that orb at you. I seem to recall that orb being able to curse, but it's been so long since I've been hit by it, I don't remember. Not that getting cursed on this floor would do anything anyway, because we can't swap weapons due to the limited zone. Not you. It takes a while to get back into the rhythm. Ooh, Master Jackets. Okay, Master Jackets like to block, so you don't want to combo these guys if you can help it. However, I think these guys can drop a... Yeah, see, he discarded. Blocking enemies in this game are really nasty because they'll do a lot of damage to your weapon. Okay, good. He had the key. I can ignore everyone else. If you get lucky, I think Master Jackets can drop an item called Stamina Drink, which is really helpful for bosses. Which, unlike the second game, I'll actually be using stamina drinks in this run, because stamina drinks are, actually really nice because they increase your defense too. Whereas in the second game, they just doubled your attack and that was it, which was really overkill. And you can steal a repair powder from them. I don't have the ability to steal anything yet, but thank you for bringing that up. That is very nice to know. Okay, so here we have a giant frog. This is Opar. Watch out for that yellow mist. That yellow mist can goo you. They also have a suicide attack where they flop on you when they die. Let's see. Ooh, 2 big chests. Happy Clown again! Let's go for... What do you think, Abstract? Big or small? I'll let you pick. Big this time. Let's go big box. What do we get? An antidote amulet. That's another thing I want to equip right away. So there are some items you can put in your active item slots that actually act like armor. In this particular instance, the antidote amulet gives us protection from poison. This will make it to where, for a certain number of hits, poison attacks will not go through. Now, there is an exception to that with some big chests have traps on them. One of the traps that a big chest can have is a poison needle that will always poison you regardless of your protections. You are fire. Nice. Plop that right there. Now, I thought I saw another big chest. Maybe I was just hallucinating. But yeah, generally speaking, on floors like this, I want to just rush through, grab all the Atla, and get all the chests. Okay, Pike. Pike is very important. Upstairs storage. Can I open this without you squirting me? Yes, thank you. Not that that helped very much. Wow, all the navigation tools when I don't need them. Thanks, game. Whoa, ow. Now you'll notice I didn't get poisoned because I have the antidote amulet helping me out. Wrong button. There we go. Alright, we can get out of here. 3 clowns is hilarious. 5's the best I've seen in a single run. Nice. Granted, I've been hopping in and out, so I don't know if this would be counted as a single run, but I get what you mean. I'm gonna leave, because I need to go heal up and save. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this next floor is actually gonna be like the halfway point where the game's gonna force us to stop. So, let's see. Go and get our supplies real quick. Don't need to drink, so doing good there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be kind of like the halfway point of the dungeon we're coming up to. There shouldn't be any Atla here. No, there's one. Okay, so I know exactly what this is. Well done making it here. I had a good look at your ability. We recognize you from the intro. Or maybe it was just that stone on your left arm. No doubt, that is the legendary Atlamillia, a treasure from the gods that only the worthy can possess. Hard to believe you are worthy of it, but that's not the issue here. Would you be so kind as to hand it over to me? I'm gonna have to tell you no, considering I've got a world to revitalize. I see. So you intend to use that stone to restore the world. A noble goal. But even if you restore the world, the destruction could repeat itself, unless you defeat the Dark Genie. Unfortunately, such a task is beyond your abilities, as a being powerful enough to destroy the world in an instant. No weapon or man can stand and face it alone. I've come to this place, or rather this time, for that stone. I need that stone, more than you do, actually. There is a great deal about that stone that you don't comprehend yet. Pardon me, I do ramble on sometimes. Well, if you will not hand over the stone willingly, then I have no choice. I believe he's about to attack us. Let me get a save state going here. Let's see what you can do, as the one supposedly entitled to the stone. Okay, yeah, he's gonna give us one more chance. Duel time! Got it. Nice. Hey, a garnet. That's very nice. Garnet, I think, has Mimic on it. You did quite well. How's this, then? Oh, I know. You're not blasting that cat. Just getting an excellent while on a minimum dungeon run's almost too much. You amuse me, boy. You can't even handle an attack as meager as this. You cannot be worthy of the stone. Like I said, you ain't blasting that cat. It's not that you couldn't dodge. You simply didn't dodge. Deliberately. Fine, then. That's it for today. I think I'm beginning to see why the fairies chose you. It'll be amusing to see how well you do. I will offer some free information, though. You cannot defeat the Dark Genie even with the stone. Not yet. If you have even a vague desire to defeat it, you must become stronger. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a gift for you. Have that little one return you the favor. See you soon. And we get a changing potion. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, garnets have Mimic on them, which is a pretty rare one. Like, Mimic and Metal are the two rarest anti-monster stats. So having a gem that gives those is very nice. And the one lone Atla we have. Stray cat. We finally get to catch the kitty, and you'll notice there's a chest over there on the other side of this little river, I guess. There's a stone pillar here, but we can't jump this. There's nothing we can do. There's no monsters here, so we can go ahead and leave. +5 attack, +10 fire, rock beast. Well, we'll see. That +5 attack's gonna be really nice. Let's see. Well, let's find out. Yeah, +5 attack, fire, rock and beast. Okay, so I was wrong. I must be thinking of rubies. Rubies are the ones that have mimic. Let's see. Actually, I think I have a note for that. Let me check. Yes, rubies. +10 speed, fire, and mimic. Okay. So yeah, I'll keep that garnet there and let that level up. So I will head back to the chief's house to get some water, but that should be all I need to do. From here, we actually need to do some city building. We need to do Giorama. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save real quick. Alright, so now we get to actually do some Giorama stuff. Getting all the ultimates while in Divine Beast Cave, you're trying to memorize the gems. Dang, if you're using Divine Beast Cave to grind all that out, have fun. Alright, so here we have the Giorama menu. Let's see, Config Assembly. This is where we can actually put the stuff together. We have the various parts we need to actually build all the houses. We have characters to inhabit them with. Move, remove is moving stuff you've already placed. Giorama Analysis lets you look at the various stats. Collection is how many parts you've collected. Completion is your general completion for the area. This tracks your dungeon progress, as well as how much you've actually done for the town. And request involves special things that you can do for the citizens of the towns you're working with. So let's go ahead and build some stuff. Let's see, we need a keg. The important one is my house, so we're going to need a llama. We're going to need the stray cat. And we're going to need Renee. Now, I'm just going to put all the houses near the cave for the moment. Just to have them all kind of close together. You'll see why here in a minute. Macho's house. We need to put Komacho and Macho, the two people who actually live here. And I'll put them right here for now. Then we have Paige's house. We need a fence. Cabin. Now, we don't have Paige yet, but we do have Pike, who is Paige's dad. So we can go ahead and put Paige's house down. Claude's house. Let's see. Claude's thankfully very easy. He can just put a bunch of stuff into his. He's just missing one thing, which no points for well, if you actually know his character, no points for guessing what he wants, but I've played this game enough, I know exactly what he wants. And then Gaffer's buggy, we need a lamp, and Gaffer. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few things here. Let's see, put Gaffer's buggy... Actually, tell you what, let's move my house. Put Gaffer's buggy right next to the dungeon entrance, just to make that convenient. Yeah, make that convenient. Alright, so... we can also build the windmill, but having the windmill in place isn't required. So, now that we've actually placed these down, random NPCs will start showing up. You can talk to people. You'll notice their presence by the blue arrows kind of pointing around. Now, each character does have their own kind of like daily routine, so if they're not out and about, they might be inside their homes. Let's see, yeah, see, Renee's inside. Toan, you're all right. Oh, good. Please don't worry me anymore. Okay, so now this is where we actually can talk with people. You have 4 options. Saying hello just gives you a conversation. How should I rebuild Norrune? Asks for their request. What will happen when it's done is asking for sort of a peek at what the reward will be. Tell me how to rebuild your house is clarifying what more stuff they need if their house is incomplete. So let's have a conversation. You're going to that cave lately, aren't you? Just don't do anything dangerous, alright? Your weapons will grow stronger and stronger if you take good care of them. But pay attention to their status and don't let them break. In the dungeon, there is a special floor called a limited zone. A mysterious spell has been put on that floor. Those floors are very difficult to clear. You be careful, okay? Toan, I hear there are scary monsters disguised as treasure chests in the dungeon. They're really strong, so if you see them, just run. Or smack them upside the head with a really powerful weapon. That works. When you go to the dungeon, don't forget to take along something to drink or you'll wear out from thirst. In the dungeon, don't overdo it. When you see it's dangerous, turn around and return at once. If you are beaten inside a dungeon and don't have an ally and stand-in powder, you pay half your money to return to the surface. Okay. Your weapons will grow stronger and stronger if you take good care of them. Okay, yeah. So now she's looping, so we've gone through all her dialogue. How should I rebuild Norrune? Let's see, it'd be lovely if the morning sun would come in from upstairs window and wake me up. So she wants her house facing east. But we won't worry about that for now. What will happen when it's done? Toan, do you ever think the two of us living here alone is a bit lonely? Tell me how to rebuild your house. It's your own house, Toan? Our house had a chimney and it had a storage room. Don't you remember what your own house was like? Let's see, so we need to put these in here now. Upstairs storage and a chimney. So now you'll see here events. That's a special event that'll go there and you'll get a reward for completing the house. However, before I do that, I want to go to these other places and work on their stuff. Gaffer's buggy is convenient. He's right here. Yo, Gaffer! Hi, Toan. This is Odd Gaffer's item shop. Come by anytime. Well, you don't look like you're open. Sorry, I'm still closed. It seems like I have more items to stock before I open shop. Let's see, I wonder what it was. I can't remember. Have you ever wondered what FP exchange on the board next to the pond meant when you were fishing? You're talking about a mechanic that we haven't been introduced to yet because we don't have the pond. FP, or fishing points, are the points the water fairy rewards you for returning the fish to the water. Moreover, the water fairy will exchange those FP for precious items that can help you greatly in your quest. So that's what FP exchange is. The water fairy near all the boards at places where you can fish. Therefore, an FP exchange is available at any fishing board. Now that's some useful info, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit early, but thanks. Do you know Martingarian? It's a rare fish, a legendary fish. Its beauty is so pure, it dazzles anyone who lays their eyes on it. I love to see it once in my life. Gold bullion has the same selling and buying price. Since it's not money, you won't lose half of it when you're defeated in the dungeon. It's always a good idea to buy some when you have money. Not really. That's a sort of like investment thing. Shut up, Odd Gaffer. I'll allow it for context. So, yes, that's fine. Shut up, Odd Gaffer. You are spoiling the game. Indeed, he is. But it's actually not a good idea to buy bullion, because money is so plentiful, you'll actually be wanting to die to get rid of some of it. When you're in need of money, you can exchange it. It's like making a deposit at the bank. If you beat a monster with items like the bomb, you can get an attachment. What's more, it'll be an attachment that can power up the attributes that the defeated monster was vulnerable to. The clever way to do it is to use items to defeat monsters when you need attachments for your weapons. That's a good rule of thumb. So, you need any bombs? You're not open for business. Have you tried fishing yet? Pike tried to get me into it, and I tried, but it's not for me. I'm probably too old for it. Again, we don't have the pond. Okay, yeah, you've told me this already. How should I rebuild Noru? Well, a shop needs houses around it to do good business. Okay, so he wants to be kind of like in the middle of town, surrounded by people. What'll happen when it's done? I still have to stock up things before I start selling, but I can't wait to open the shop. Tell me how to rebuild your house. Could you help me? Of course, what we need for a shop are goods and a sign. Put the sign on the buggy's roof and the goods on the carpet so they won't get soiled. Okay, so what I want to do with Gaffer specific... How many times do you have to teach you this lesson, old man? Oh... That's a SpongeBob reference, I think. I don't remember exactly. I think it is, though. Okay, so I actually don't want to do Gaffer's event yet. I want to make sure everything else is settled first. Alright, Komacho, what's up? Thank you, Toan. Say, what happened on the day of the festival, anyway? I remember a light flashed from the sky, and the house has disappeared, and after that, I don't remember a thing. Did you see my little brother, Macho? He's probably, if he's not walking around, he's probably in the house. Or that could be him over there. Might be Claude or Pike, though. One of the coolest items you can get is the bomb. You can blow up all the monsters gathered near you just like that. Boom! Nice, huh? I heard that something good would happen if you didn't use any recovery items in a dungeon, but nothing happened. Who the heck started that rumor? Yeah. Clearing all without healing does nothing in this game. How goes the fight in the cave? Come to me if you run into any problems. Oh, here's one thing. In the dungeon, if you ever get stuck or run out of items, return to the surface and search the town. You may be able to find some valuable support items laying around. This will be really important when you try to get to the deeper floors. It's pretty dangerous down there. He's actually referring to miracle chests, which are like those things. We'll go over that in a minute. I have a bit of a different view on battles than my bro. Fighting's about brains. You can fight easily if you make the best out of items in the dungeon. My bro doesn't agree. I'll tell you one important thing. To power up your weapons, you'd think you should kill all the monsters with weapons. But that's not necessarily the case. If you kill a monster with an item instead of a weapon, the monster sometimes changes into an attachment. What's more, it'll change into an attachment with an attribute most effective against that monster. To power up a weapon, you do need to use the weapon itself, but to power it up efficiently, use items once in a while, and always be fully equipped with the attachments when you upgrade. What do you think? Pretty useful, huh? I agree with that last one. And, okay, you're looping now. How should I rebuild Noru? I'd like the house to be someplace where I don't have to go far for a good workout. He wants his house to be next to Divine Beast Cave. What'll happen when it's done? I'll give you something, but I'll keep it a secret for now. The hint is rock-breaking strength. Tell me how to rebuild your house. A fence and a lamp would be nice. We had stuff any decent person would have, you know. I believe Macho is inside. Yes, he is. Sup, Macho? Ah, Toan, I missed you, man. Your smile really brightens my day. If you see my big bro, tell him you didn't see me, okay? I'm counting on you. Be careful with Statue. Your sword wears out real fast when you hit his armor. Oops, sorry for jumping around so much. Build your sword's anti-metal ability to take out monsters like Statue quickly. I don't think Statue is actually classed as metal. I think he's classed as stone. Duel is a fight of timing. They say if you fight a perfect match, you'll be rewarded by the Terra Fairies. Yep, we know that. We've gotten gems from them. I'm not sure if that's true, though. Oh, it definitely is. Fighting is all about timing. Withdraw when you should and attack when you can. The skilled warrior knows all of this. Especially since guarding's not that useful in this game. That's actually really nice info. Listen to me. Looking at Claude's flap just irritates me. Classic dumb musclehead, yeah. He doesn't understand how a guy ought to be. Hey, leave him alone, man. He's living his life, you live your own. The dungeon will get tougher after the 9th floor. The other day, I almost got worked. Oops, you haven't gone there yet. Sorry. You're telling me you can jump that gap? How should I rebuild Noru? Fighting's what a man should live for. It's a basic fact of life, right? I think that's his response to where we have him placed. But much like his brother, he wants to be near Divine Beast Cave. What'll happen when it's done? That you should ask my big bro. Tell me how to rebuild your house. Look, don't forget to expand my room, and the barbell, put that outside. Alright. And it's now night. People will be walking around a bit now. Let's see, we got a fence, a lamp, annex room, and the barbell. Now, we could do stuff there, but I want to go talk to Pike, I believe. Alright, Pike, what's up? Now, mistranslation, he's called Dyke out in the field. His name is Pike. It's supposed to be a P. Towen, you're safe too. Well, that's good. What kind of bastard did this to us? Paige has gone off somewhere again. I wish she would come home earlier once in a while. We haven't found her yet. Towen, can you tell her that for me? She'd probably listen to you better than me. I hear there's a legendary fish. Its name is Martingarian of Happiness. Where you can catch it, how you can catch it, or let alone what it looks like, they're all unknown. The word is that if you catch it, you can be happy. Catching a Martingarian is all fishers' dreams. I wish I could catch it. You're just not in the right place for it, man. If you acquire FP fishing points by fishing, the water fairy, or whatever it's called, will exchange it for an item. And then they exchange with items like gems. I wish we could get more food. Fishing isn't as fun if you don't. Yeah, this guy's like the village fisherman. Something tells me that tomorrow will be a perfect day for fishing, Towen. Do you want to come fishing with me? We don't have a fishing spot. I remember giving Almet a precious item as a present a long time ago. Oh, don't get me wrong, it didn't mean anything. Come to think of it, that was a waste. I don't know these people talking about the Mardan so much. Yeah, you'd be surprised. All you have to do is talk to people. How's fishing? The secret to it is positioning, bait selection, and the timing. That is true. It's not like Dark Cloud 2, where it's its own, like, specialized minigame. Okay, yeah, you've talked about Mardan already, so... Is the Water Fairy different than the Fairy King? Yes, however, the Water Fairy never makes, like, a specific, like, physical appearance. That's just the game's justification for how you can get these items seemingly out of nowhere by talking to a sign. How should I rebuild Norroom? You know I like fishing, don't you? Yep, he wants to be put next to the pond, but we don't have that yet. What'll happen when it's done? Paige can do something about that. Just ask her. Well, she's not home. Tell me how to rebuild your house. I'd like the wheel for the buggy to be outside. It's a part I use for repairing Odd Gaffer's buggy. That'll be, I think I own a repair shop or something. Now, that's important. We actually do want to have the wheel there. I think, don't quote me on this, I think you just need Pike before activating Gaffer's event to get the good get the good ending for it, so to speak. I like having the wheels ready just in case that is a factor. Let's see, Claude. Claude, I believe, is in his house. He generally doesn't go out very much. So, let's see. Are you inside? Do you not have the pond? I don't think so. That's later on. Hey, Towen! I thought I was finished when I was put inside that weird bubble. Oh yeah, the food from the festival. I wonder what happened to it. There should be some left. Macho tells me I'm no good as long as I stay punchy like this. That hurts. You know, you just ignore him. You live your life, man. The other day, Auntie Laura was mad at Gina for trying to eat a candy she dropped on the ground. But doesn't everyone do that, right? No, that's disgusting. That's how you get sick. It looks like a mouse is in my house. Every time I check my cheese, there's some missing. Could you do something about that? I'm not an exterminator. Hey, did you find any good food inside the dungeon? If you ever find any, give it to me. If I find a premium chicken, I'm keeping that, dude. Sorry. What do you think Almet's favorite food is? And yeah, if you can't tell, this guy's a foodie. Oh yeah. How should I rebuild Norroom? Let's see, a place for a house. I'd like it where I can smell good food. Wait, was Claude aware he was trapped in the Atla? Komacho couldn't remember what happened. Yeah, it varies from person to person. What'll happen when it's done? I'll give you something good to eat. Now, that's not necessarily true. Tell me how to rebuild your house. Don't forget the box with candies, that's most important. I would think having a roof over your head would be more important than a candy box, but whatever. Now, Claude's event is time-based, actually. His event's ready, but we don't want to go into his house yet. We want to wait for the morning to come before going to his. Now, the two really important ones are we want to go to Gaffer's Buggy and my house. Speaking of, we actually need to finish Gaffer's Buggy. Where is Gaffer's Buggy? Oh no, I do have the pond. There it is. I mean, we can't fish there anyway, but because we don't have a fishing rod, but we do have the pond. I'll actually go ahead and put this down. Yeah, put that like right there. Don't need trees, roads, or bridges. Alright. Now, I'm going to save real quick. If I did this right... Let's check out Gaffer's Buggy. Awesome, I did it right. How's this, Gaffer? Not quite right yet. To the right. More to the right. You're a slave driver, Gaffer. Jeez. Thank you for waiting. Thanks to you, I can at last reopen my shop. It's not well stocked yet, but I can give you excellent service. Come visit my shop anytime, Toan. Okay, so I ended up doing this right. This event has two different outcomes depending on whether you have Pike available or not. If you have Pike available, you will see that one. That one there. With that, his stock will be expanded. He'll have more to sell. If you don't have Pike and you trigger this event, Gaffer will try setting up the sign himself. He'll fall, hurt himself, and his stock will suffer for it. Let's see. It's finished. Thanks to you, I was able to reopen, so how about it? Do you want to buy anything? I want to sell. So here we have the shop interface. Technically, you can do drag and drop. Like, you'll drag things over here, put them over here, and you can sell it that way. Or you can press the triangle button to do a quick sell. Let's see. We don't need this many escape powders. I don't use bombs. Let's see. Fishing bait at this point is just money. There are very specific types of fishing bait I like to use, and the regular fishing bait for me is worthless, because the fish you catch with them do not give a good FP payout. Let's see. I want to get 3 regular waters. I'll get another loaf of bread. And I want to get 4 repair powders. There we go. 5 drinks, 5 pieces of food, 5 repair powders. Let's see, we got 1 escape powder. I want a revival powder, 2 revival powders, and a stand-in powder. Let's see, I also want an extra antidote drink and 2 bars of soap. There we go. Okay, that should stock us up for status effect cures and stuff like that. I don't think he has anything else of any real interest. Going over his stock. Bread recovers 50 HP. Regular water heals 3 thirst points. Repair powder, you know what that does. Auto repair powder, you slot that into an active item slot, and if your weapon breaks while it's in that slot, it'll auto repair the weapon for you. Escape powder lets you leave the dungeon with no penalty. Stand-in powder, if you die in the dungeon and you have an ally you can switch to, the stand-in powder will allow you to do that. Revival powder, this has 2 uses. You can, if you die and you have a character you can switch to, you can use the revival powder on the dead character to resuscitate them, or if you have it equipped in your active item slot when your HP bottoms out, it'll consume the revival powder and restore about half your HP. Antidote drink cures poison, soap cures goo, bomb, you throw it at an enemy, blows up, deals damage, and you can sometimes get an item drop from them. Dran's feathers actually do want to buy. I want to buy a few of these. 3 of those should be fine. These are weapon attachments, attack +1, endurance +1, self-explanatory. He sells all of the elemental attachments, which is one of the main things I want to buy from him. Dragon Slayer, we can use that to increase damage against dragon-type monsters, and Gold Bullion just buys and sells for 1,000. He told you what that does. Let's see. No attachments. I think that should be everything I need. There we go. I might buy another Dran's Feather. Okay. Let me go ahead and equip that revival powder. Okay, 3 Dran's Feathers. Got my supplies. Let me check my Gladius. Okay, so you've got stuff, so I don't need to worry about that for now. I would like to get a thunder and a wind attachment, just so I can kind of start working on those. So, one thunder. Oh, okay. I forgot how expensive those are. So, yeah, we just got one thunder, so we can at least start putting thunder on our Gladius. Let's see. I don't want to sell anything, especially not the sacks. Okay, so I actually want to do something with the dagger here. Not that I actually need to do it, because I have the sacks. But you'll notice the dagger now has full ABS. It's had full ABS for a while. I'm going to show you guys a glitch that you can use to speedrun the game if you feel so inclined to do so. I highly recommend saving before you do this. You can do this at any store, but Gaffer's Buggy is the easiest one, because he's the earliest one you have to access. So what you want to do is you want to scroll down until you have an empty spot available, specifically next to the ice attachment. You can like drag and drop, like I said. But what you want to do is you want to pick any item on this side. Specifically, you want the ice attachment. You can sometimes get other glitch items if you do this with any other one. But with the ice attachment, you want to hit right and the X button at the same time. If you do this right, you'll get an attachment that looks like a broken dagger. There we go. We got it. Okay. So, I think what this is this was a debug tool that the devs had to test the weapon upgrade system. As you see, if you put this on a weapon, boom, it maxes out all of your stats. So if you really, really wanted to, you could use broken daggers to max out your weapon stats. You'd only ever have to level them up once, and then boom, you can evolve them to the next tier until you get your ultimate weapons. You can break the game really easy that way. I'm not going to be using it for that purpose, but as a point of habit, like I said, probably won't be using it for the dagger specifically. I mean, I still will, but I'll go ahead and upgrade this since it has the ABS. But now we have a maxed out dagger, which I think is it's marginally weaker than the sacks as far as attack power goes, but because it has all of the attributes and monster stats, it's technically stronger than the sacks. So if we want to kill some of the bigger enemies, this would be the weapon to do it with. But what this will allow us to do is we can use this to kill bigger enemies that the Gladius or the sacks can't handle, and then we can swap to the Gladius or the sacks to let them get the experience and level up our other weapons until our weapons surpass this one. So this is good for that. I always level up my starter weapons at least once, give them a broken dagger just for efficiency's sake. Makes it so that I don't have to grind up a starter weapon, because there are some puzzles later in the game that require you to use specific weapon elements or stuff like that, and having the broken dagger on a starter weapon will still be able to solve said puzzle. So for those reasons, I like using it for starter weapons only. Leveling up the other weapons that can actually be built up the normal way I find is more fun. So yeah, I will be using the broken dagger glitch, but only on starter stuff. I've been thinking about exploring the menu to find all the secret menu items. You can find some stuff that's not even in the game, like in the release version. Like one of the dungeons has a backfloor key that in international versions wasn't coded properly. I think you can get one of those via that, but you can also get items that you can't get rid of and clog up your inventory if you're not careful. So always save before attempting that glitch. So anyway, next we're going to go ahead and do the event here, which will allow us to continue on through the dungeon. And the broken dagger loses all of its abilities. I mainly do it for the stat boost rather than the abilities. Oh good, you came just in time. Look! A little kitty cat wandered in here. Toan, let's give this kitty a name, alright? Cat girl saved by Toan. Zhao. Zhao, that's a good name. Your name is Zhao. Hi, Zhao. But now if we go inside... It's finished. Be good with Zhao. Oh, make no mistake, I intend to. Hey, kitty. The eyes want to tell something. The flame key is one of the items available that is found nowhere in the base game. I know about that, actually. That's because there used to be in the conceptual stages, there was supposed to be a fire-based dungeon. And that was supposed to be... You pronounce Shao like I do. Others say Shao. I pronounce the X like a Z. Zhao. It's kind of weird. But anyway, so... That guy down there told us to make the little one return us the favor. Well, here's how we do that. What? What's this? Whoa, I'm like totally a human. Wow, how did you do it? Master, are you a wizard? Oh well, never mind. Well, anyways, Zhao wants to help Master with the adventure. Please, can I? Please, please, please? Say yes, say yes! Zhao has become an ally. We have a new party member. Oh, is that a new friend? I haven't seen her around here. Owen. What do you think Sita was doing with that potion in the dungeon with a cat? I'm not even sure he knew the cat was there. As for why he had the potion, who knows? Plot convenience? It's been a while, eh, Toen? I mean, I saw you, what, 2 floors ago? Ah, so you have an ally to help you through your adventure. Let me give you some tips about allies. The only place you can call for your allies is inside a dungeon. As you advance deeper into the dungeon, it may become so hard that you can't finish it without some help. When you run into situations that you can't handle on your own, it's a good idea to get help from an ally. They'll be happy to help you. However, you are the only one with the power of the Atlamillia that can break the seal of Atla. So long! Okay, so, before I end off the stream for today, I want to save one more time, and I want to get another Broken Dagger, because now that we have Zhao in our party, we have another starter weapon to power up, and I've got power-up powders, so we don't need to, like, level up her weapon at all. So, let's see. Now, Zhao uses slingshots. Upgrade with power-up powder. Yes. There we go. Now she's not pitifully weak and can hold her own, at least until we find a proper weapon for her. So, let's see, yeah. Let me check her weapon list. It ultimately, in the long run, does not really matter what weapon I get for her. All of her basic weapons, with the exception of one, will ultimately end up with her having the same ultimate weapon regardless. There's one specialty one that's really rare, but that one's more of a novelty than anything practical. So, while I would prefer to get a bandit slingshot as her starter weapon because it has steel on it, any of the basic slingshots except for Steve will do. Steve's just a novelty. If I get him, great. If not, oh well. So, let's see. Everything should be in good condition. So, we're good to go. That one exception was a pain to get in Divine Beast Cape. Yeah, it is. Anyway, I'm going to save here, and I think this will be a good place to stop the stream for now. I'll continue this tomorrow since we can actually make some more forward progress, and I don't have to stop at grind for anything. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you are looking forward to more episodes. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Good night, everyone.